Like that? That good?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I believe there's a reason for this pain I'm going through, if I believe that leaving me was all that you could do, if I believe that I can feel you by my side, I'll make it through the night. If I believe that time will teach me how to find my way, if I believe that broken hearts grow stronger every day, if I believe that now you're dancing across the sky, I just might get by. 'Cause I lost my way when I lost you. Now I'm wondering what I'm gonna do. Help me be strong, 'cause it all feels so wrong without you now. Won't you help me through somehow? Get me through somehow. If I believe that in my dreams I'll always feel your touch, if I believe that memories won't always hurt this much, if I believe that I will see your face again, I can wait till then. If I believe I'll hold you in my arms again, I can wait. I know that I can wait. I can wait till then. I can wait till then.
Good evening, everyone. As you know, my name is Joanne, and this is the Somerville Overcoming Addiction show. And this is our first show of 2020. I thought I'd wear my shirt tonight. Although it says Keno on it.
Yeah.
But I really don't have a gambling
Addiction.
But having the casino so close to us, it could possibly
Yeah,
happen.
really. Right? That's funny. I didn't even catch the 20. That's
Yeah.
very good.
It says Massachusetts on the
Yeah.
back, too. It's not the Patriot shirt.
Oh, well.
So tonight's guest, first I have Judith VanKooiman.
VanKooiman.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Joanne.
I should have said, could you please pronounce your last
Yes.
name? Because I'm having a real hard time with that. And Barbara Hopkinson.
Right.
I've had Barbara on the show before, and I'm glad that you came back.
Me
because
too.
you had
Thanks.
a lot of things have happened since you came on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll have to fill people in on that.
Okay.
And I happened to be on Judie's show last month. Actually, it's still airing.
It's airing this month.
Yeah. Yeah. And her show is called Life's Issues, and she is out of Winthrop, so her channel is WCAT. And how could someone here in Somerville be able to watch your show?
They can. We're on YouTube under WCAT TV or Life Issues TV on social media on Facebook. And we're on LinkedIn also and Twitter and all that.
Well, we'll have to get it. Did you send me you sent me a link.
Of the
Did-
show.
did I put- I wonder if I put it on my page. Well, whatever. We will get that on the
Okay.
page. Because I watched part of it. And it wasn't a bad interview. I said, oh my God, Joanne, I hope you did okay. Because I actually don't watch my shows.
A lot of people don't.
No.
You two are funny because you're both used to interviewing people as opposed
Yeah.
to being interviewed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
you had that reaction on her show, and now I know Judy has that reaction on your show.
Yeah, we're going to put her on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I happen to like being laid back and having it like The View and just briefly talk about a lot of things that are going on. And your show is not on addiction. Yours is about all life issues,
Right.
you know. So I
Anything.
appreciate the fact that you wanted to talk about addiction on your show. You know, I mean, 80% of the country is affected by it,
Right.
you know, and
It affected my life. I had family members, that were drug addicts.
so how long have you actually been doing your show?
It was 9 years ago in December.
Wow, you've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. It never gets old because there's always something new, somebody new. Except for Barbara. Barbara's been on my show now for three times.
Yeah. I like to be interviewed.
Yeah. Which is
Well, you do a
important.
very good job.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, no, it is. I enjoyed having Barbara. You know, when I first met her in Washington, I went, oh my God, this is such a great, I thought it was wonderful to have pictures, you know, have people take pictures of you know, and she's a perfectionist too. Yeah, even though she has people, a photographer, she'll go and straighten it out and put those letters and have you hold your hands a certain way so that you actually have the heart showing. And you sent me the last pictures from when we did the vigil with my granddaughter. They're beautiful. So I'm going to have them
good.
enlarged.
Oh,
Because I do have a wall in back of my, we all
I
have a
get-
wall in back of our
okay.
couch, right?
all right. I can even send you a. It's a full quality, but it might be sized. I can send you a bigger size,
Right.
so that way, because I've still got all the original photos
Well, that would
and
be
the edited
great.
photos, so I can send you a bigger size so you can blow it up.
Well, you do have, I mean, this is remarkable. Barbara has written how many books? 3?
5.
5?
Yeah.
But you only have 2 here.
I have 2 here because that's my first one, which is my memoir, and the other one on the other side is my first photo book, which is The Faces of Resilience we've been talking about, which is about open expression of grief, loss, and love. The ones in between were all collaboratives, which is lovely. You know, grief diaries and faith, but you know, gets old carrying them all around.
No, but
So,
I really
move on.
love that picture of that young man. Is he alive?
This is my remaining son, and the interesting story about.
That's right. I
Yeah,
saw
this is
his
Brad.
pictures on your Facebook. He's the one that owns the restaurant.
Yeah, he owns Bob Lobster, and just off on the way to Plum Island, Mass, up in Newbury, Mass. So, but the interesting thing about that is, I sent the Linda Fell and Allie Blue Media published this, and I sent her 200 photos, and she picked his photo up front, and this is my stepson's wife, one of my daughter-in-laws, on the back. She had no idea they had any relation to me at all. I didn't tell her a thing about any of the pictures, and she picked those 2 pictures for the cover.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, isn't that something? But this is, you know, as people can see, it's all about open expression of grief, loss, and love. So we go to grief events with a mobile photo shoot, photographer, backdrop, lights, the whole bit, and then we take the photos, no charge, but we encourage people, they have to come up with their own expression. And if they can't think of things, we have books and banners and things to give them ideas, and then I'll ask them leading questions, but the saying has got to be meaningful to them. And then I will write that on their skin with washable magic marker. And then we take a photo of them, whether it's singles, couples, groups, sometimes with pets, and we take their photo, and it's meaningful to them. It's like a memorial, but it's cathartic for them to do it. It's kind of visceral, I think, because you're writing on your skin. And then we edit it professionally, and we send the photos. We send them the photos, which is a catalyst for them to talk about their grief, which is, in my opinion, the most healing thing you can do. So it's cathartic, and then it's healing to talk about it later.
So that's
It's
why
kind of
I
a
really
memorial, yeah.
enjoyed seeing it when I was down in Washington, because we were there for, you know,
Yeah,
the
walk
Fed
on-
Up rallies.
There's a walk on the Capitol, Fed Up, yeah.
Yeah, and then we actually
Yeah.
went down and rallied out in front of the Shackler Art Museum.
Mm,
You know,
right.
we want everybody to
Look
know.
down. Yeah, it was really interesting because you look down at the end of the street, there was the Capitol. Yeah, and it was a walk on the Capitol about the
My
opioid crisis.
6-year-old granddaughter was actually going down to Washington, you know, walking down and singing all the chants. She was good at it too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Mm.
good.
Not millions, but billions.
Yeah. We actually,
That's needed for treatment.
yeah, no, it's anything to raise awareness about all of these things. But the I've been doing it 4 years. 2020 will be the 5th year, and this year in 2019, I got to take it international. So in addition to doing photo shoots all over the country, and with organizations like the Compassionate Friends and Bereaved Parents of the USA, and different and Fed Up, et cetera, and your vigil, we did your Somerville Overcoming Addiction vigil. Then I took it to Canada, the Caribbean, and London this past year.
Amazing.
So it was, yeah.
She's
so
been very,
I'm
very
trying to do that.
busy.
Yes,
Yeah.
she has.
And I love it when people write in their native language if we're local. So I've got 8 languages so far also. And so I
That'll
just
have
needed,
to be your next book.
oh, I want to do a book as close as I can to every year with a different theme. So one might be military. I'd love to get involved in the military because of all of the suicides and PTSD and battle losses and everything else, or maybe addiction, widows, siblings, because the siblings are kind of the forgotten grievers a lot of
Right.
times. So
Is that how you met Judy?
no, we met. How did we meet, Judy? I'm trying to remember. It was quite a while ago.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
I think there was somebody told me about. I was looking for grief resources for
Yeah,
my nonprofit,
Yeah, which
and I
is
think somebody
those who can for those in need.
Yes,
Which
and-
encompasses a lot of different
right
types of
resources.
services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think someone had mentioned you to me.
Okay. Seems like you did reach out, but I remember I came. I was at your the fair you do in September. You do a what do you call it? A services resource fair.
Yep, it's a
Resources fair.
resource, and
And I've-
again, anything to do with life.
I've been in like 3 of those.
Yeah.
With again, people bring community resources for the community. You know, so we'll have brochures and things.
Yeah,
at
and
organizations.
we make it into like a family type event. So while the adults are visiting the resource tables, we have things going on for the kids. We have, this year we had Jenny the juggler. Actually, she couldn't make it, so it was another gentleman that she had recommended. And we have the reptiles.
That was my favorite. I had so much fun. I had this. Was it
Yeah.
a python?
Yeah, I think
I think
so.
it was a python I had wrapped around my neck. I've got pictures. It was awesome. Their skin is
that
gorgeous.
doesn't-
It's so smooth.
Didn't scare you?
No, they're not the type that bite or are venomous. They're the type that are
no.
squeeze.
Mm.
And I figured he's right there. If it starts to squeeze, I can always say, "Okay, come
Yeah.
get it."
It's a very reputable company
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah,
That
it was
we-
If they
fun.
love
Yeah.
you,
Big
then
tortoises.
they squeeze you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's pretty cool. Anyway,
we have,
I've got some cool pictures.
free food, entertainment. We did this year. We asked for sponsors to some of the things that we had that day for the first time, and we had an excellent turnout with the organizations and stuff that wanted to sponsor and donate and stuff. But it was a big, happy family type event, you know.
And who is it, the gentleman that comes that's in the government in
Our
Massachusetts?
Speaker of the House,
Yeah,
Robert
thank
DeLeo,
Terrible
um,
name.
Oh, he's
Said-
from Winthrop.
did some opening remarks, and I've known him for many years, so he's a good supporter of a lot of organizations that are based in Winthrop
You
and
should
stuff.
see him every year down at the Revere Memorial. He's always there for
Yeah.
that vigil.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very nice man.
Yeah, he is.
And actually, I've seen him at the State House. Every year, more for the past 28 years, has had a walk to the State House for addiction. And now they're doing it at Faneuil Hall. But it's just a big event.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly do something with that. It's just such an epidemic. It's
Well, you know what? They do after the event, they do have speakers and everything. They have people that come in that are in recovery, bands, artists. They show, you know.
oh, interesting. I'd like to contact. Maybe I could just come and do
Yeah.
a photo shoot. 'cause
It's usually the
fascinating.
third, it's like the third week in September. But I'll give you the information. I'll be
Okay,
able
great.
to go this year.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Usually I try to go. As a matter of fact, we do have a meeting in Somerville the third Thursday of every month. And it's they're showing that movie I told you about, the documentary that Stuart had put together, From My Heart to Yours.
Oh, okay.
And you're more than welcome to come to those meetings if you'd like to. You know, it's
Your
quite
visual was really interesting. It was really very striking, emotional when they say a name and ring a bell for every single name.
So
that
the
we've
thing is
lost.
that's how Revere did it. When I
Yeah.
first lost Frankie, I moved down to the beach for a year. I was just telling Judith. And I had met people from Revere Cares About Prevention. And a few other people brought me to that. You know, they helped me with, one was Chris Alba. And I didn't even know it, but I would go to Maddie's, which is a nightclub, and he was actually security there. And after I lost Frankie, he came to me, and he was the first person that I met that was able to help me in my difficult time. And actually, the next one was Kenny Brianna. Ken Brianna is
Wildfire.
from Wildfire, and Judy and I are friends with him.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
He came to me and he said, I really would like to I would like to help you and do a fundraiser. So we had it at Maddie's, and that was Ken that started that for me.
And actually, I know Chris too. He was at my first resource fair
Right.
many years ago. So
Yeah. So Chris Alba
Small world.
really helped me, and then from there, he was a part of that group at Somerville Revere Cares About Prevention. So for 9 years, I was going to their vigil, and that's where I got a lot of the ideas for the vigil in Somerville. You know, we have speakers, and we would do poems, and I'd have. I didn't have it this year, but I usually have someone do the pipes. I'm coming home.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's really a nice to be down the beach and have them walking down to the water. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And then I had Ken and Shirley played music before it in Revere. I had them do that one year. And so, you know, that's how I got the idea for the
Bagpipes
vigil.
are so
Because it's about
emotional.
people. I didn't want the politicians to get involved with, you know what I mean? It's basically for people that have lost their families. We do have a few speakers that get up and talk, but it would be about, you know.
The gentleman that was there who spoke, who did the sculpture of
Oh,
the
yes.
spoon.
That was Dominic
Dominic, yeah.
Esposito. Do you know who he is? Okay. I had him on the show as well. And what he did was he is an artist, and he sculptured an 800-pound spent spoon. And he dropped it in front of Purdue Pharmaceutical and got arrested for doing that. And so now he made, I don't know how many of these spoons, and he gave one to Maura Healy for her effort for what she's doing, taking the Sacklers and Purdue Pharmaceutical to court. And we went to Washington again.
Yeah.
And, and
really?
we went to, it was like a spur of the moment. Someone said, hey, what are you doing? I said, well, I could take a day or two off.
Yeah.
So we drove down by bus, and there was a whole bunch of us mothers from Team Sharing, excuse me, And Dominic Esposito came with the spoon, and there were people that were laying on the ground with tombstones and throwing bottles that say, you know, with the Shackler's name on it, guaranteed to you know. I'm going to cough again. I'm sorry.
I have water if you need it.
No. Excuse me. I should just let you both talk. I don't know. I haven't been well for about a month and a half, but
Oh, it's a lot of everybody around me has been sick.
yeah, everybody's sick.
Luckily, I've been.
That
I've
time
been.
of
I
year.
haven't. Yeah, I haven't gotten it. Even with all the flights and stuff, I was traveling a lot the last couple of months of the year, but luckily I didn't get it. But I.
So you started a nonprofit. Excuse me. Give us some information on you and what the name of it is and what you do, please.
So I actually piggybacked off of Life Issues cable show and started a nonprofit in memory of my husband, who I lost 13 years ago to cancer. And I wanted to do something to help others, you know, going through their bumps in their life is what I call what I went through when I lost him. And prior to him passing away, I lost my full-time job at a law firm in Boston. So that's when my life kind of did the, you know, tumble down. So I went and said I need to do something to help others because I didn't know where to turn when I lost him and stuff. So I said I'm going to, you know, reach out and, you know, start a nonprofit and get as many organizations as I can from the greater Boston, North Shore area. And it's anything to do with life. You know, the categories are, and we hold it, like Barbara mentioned, the annual resource fair in September because that's right around the anniversary of his passing. And then we do an annual fundraiser in April, Uplift Yourself with Laughter at Giggles, because laughter is the best medicine. So
It certainly is.
yeah, so
What are the categories again?
that for the resources,
Wow.
so many there. No, that's okay. I'll try to. Elderly, losing a loved one, children, substance abuse, domestic violence, veterans, health and disease. I know I'm missing some.
Anything to do with life.
Exactly, exactly. So.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, so we do that, and we have a website that we try to keep resources up there available. People can call me, and I'll suggest, you know, something like homelessness. That's another category that we have, and we only make the suggestions. Like I said, we can't tell people what to do, but you know, we're there to, you know, listen and to help them make, you know, with suggestions.
So do you want to give them a telephone number that they can reach
Sure.
you?
Sure. And I'll give them an email too. My phone number is 617-462-5719. And my email is Judie, Judie, @twctin.org.
Very good. They're going to be calling you. No, that's really wonderful because my goodness, I had never coughed. I'm going to cough throughout the whole thing now. It's nice to have community. In the community, this is how I feel. This is why I started the show that I do. First of all, it's the way we heal. What you did helped you heal in many, many ways. You've lost so many loved ones and yourself, where you lost your husband and you felt that you were spiraling down and you didn't know what to do with yourself. So
You have to. I hit bottom. I actually attempted suicide myself after I lost 3 children, and later on I lost a husband. But I instinctively knew that helping others would help me heal, and it's made all the difference in the world.
and the same here. You know, I do the show and I became a recovery coach, and it's just that this is what helped me heal in the time. You know, I mean, my son is never going to come back. You're never going to have your loved ones come back. But it gives you a sense of makes you feel good that you're helping others, and it's helping you.
Yeah, and you never know what kinds of things they need. We have a resource center on our site. So our site is abutterfliesjourney.org, and that's FLYS. It's possessive, not plural. But there's a resource center there, a free resource center. It's got right now 10 categories. I'm about to expand it, but it's got 10 categories of resources. So there's organizations, there's books, there's articles, there's videos, there's TED Talks, there's spiritual stuff, there's all kinds of things. So people can 24/7 can just go on and say, see what's useful for them.
And that's
keep
what I
adding.
think is really good.
Add both
because,
you to it, yeah.
at night when you're there and you're alone, a lot of times that's when you have episodes of,
Right.
my goodness, of loss. You feel it could be your lowest point.
Oh, yeah.
And people grieve in different ways too. Like, I know somebody that lost a loved one that 20 years ago, and it's still, affecting their lives and stuff. With me, I knew that my husband wouldn't want me sitting around doing nothing, so to speak. He would have been kicking my butt, they say. So I wanted to, I kept busy, and I, got, involved in a lot of volunteer work too and stuff. So
I've dealt with a lot of people because I started a Compassionate Friends chapter of Greater Newburyport in northeastern Mass also back in 2003. So I've been doing that now. It'll be 17 years. And so I work with a lot of families, parents and families that have lost children in all different ways because it's any age, any cause. And then I'm also a certified grief recovery specialist. So I don't just deal with people that have lost children. I deal with people that have lost spouses and partners and pets, actually certified and all that. And everybody's different. So I just tell people, you got to do things, just trust your gut and try new things, try a few things, and pick 2 or 3 that feel like they make a little bit of a difference, and keep doing those for a while, and then every once in a while add a new one. And so sometimes it's walks in nature, sometimes it's helping other people, sometimes it's going for therapy. Some people need meds. It's all different, but everybody's on their own unique schedule. But one thing that I think you have to do that some people find it difficult to do is actually making the choice to heal, right? Because if you don't make the choice, it'll never happen. It's like not deciding to go somewhere or do something. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to kind of fall and feel really bad for yourself and not choose to take action and do something, try anything. But I know, poor Joanne. But I think that's one of the key things. And some people feel guilty when they start feeling better, and they shouldn't, because their loved ones want them to feel better.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, our loved ones all want us to feel better. And one key turning point for me, after I lost my 21-year-old son Brent in a motorcycle accident, was, and then my 30-year marriage fell apart, and a few other things. But the turning point
we have something in common.
Yeah.
Mine was 32 years.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. But when I started thinking of his life as a gift and not just a loss, that made a huge difference for me. And I think when they can kind of get to that, and then you focus more. Now when I think of him, I don't think of the pain of the loss. I think of all those silly things we did together while he was alive. And what a personality, what a big personality Brent had. Yeah. So.
Same thing with my son. What a clown.
Yeah.
He made people feel, it was congenial. He loved people, and he would walk, like I'd say, how come you're late coming home from work? He would, he was still in school, in high school, and said, oh man, well, I didn't want her to go home by herself.
Oh.
Because one of their friends had been murdered.
Oh.
At 17, and he really loved her. So no, he would take the chance to get in trouble with me, and would walk her home.
Oh,
and you know
sweet.
what?
Yeah, how could you be mad at him for that? Yeah.
No, I couldn't
Yeah.
be mad at him. I would, I would like to
Strangle sometimes.
every
yeah.
once in a while,
Yeah.
but he was so great to have around.
Yeah.
You always knew when Frank was around because he never, ever stopped making noise. He always made noise.
Oh, that's funny.
He could never be quiet,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know. And yeah, he was a joy. He was such a joyful kid to have around, even at 32.
Yeah.
He was a kid.
Yeah. Well, always. There'll always be a boy.
Yeah.
Always be.
no. And my younger son, you know, they're both different.
Mm.
It's nice having Patrick around. You know, he's been in recovery for 7 years. I
Good
have
for
2
him.
grandchildren.
Oh, it's lovely. That's
You know,
isn't that
so
awesome?
I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of like helps you
Yeah.
with your loss. Is
Oh
that, you
yeah.
know.
Brad's got 2 little ones, a 2.5-year-old and a 4-month-old, and yeah.
Yeah, I see the picture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know.
Hey, I do
Banana.
photography.
Yeah.
I take pictures of everything.
Yeah.
I post
No,
them. I
that's
love
good.
it.
I do
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
I think it's a great thing.
Oh yeah.
So now,
And his son is named after his brother, Brent. So it's really sweet. I was thrilled when they decided to do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
try to edit all that when you put it on your page.
Yeah.
This is a live show. It's not going to get edited here. And I didn't realize that you've been doing this long. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, I started to my Brent died, so I lost a baby to miscarriage in 1980, and then my 3rd son Robbie was still born in 1987, and then my older son Brent died in 2002, and so it was 2003 I started the Compassionate Friends of Greater Newburyport, which is a support group for anybody basically within driving distance who's lost a child, any age, any cause. And then I wanted to do more, and I think I finished my book this book, and released it in 2013, A Butterfly's Journey. Same name as the. I actually got that from Medium. The same name as the.
Really?
Yeah. I had it slightly different, and she said, "Yeah, no, I think it should be this." And that was kind of a message I think
that's
for
a good
Brent.
idea, right?
But anyway, this was a memoir, A Butterfly's Journey, and that came out in 2013. And I started the organization, but not initially as a nonprofit. And then I just figured out, money and grief doesn't work all that well together. And what can I do to make it more effective? So then I went and turned it into a nonprofit, got a 501c3, and just kind of put it on its ear and figured out what the focus areas were. So for me, the focus areas were I went and got certified as a grief recovery specialist in 2015 from the Grief Recovery Institute. So there's classes, and it's an interesting. It's a action-based. It's only 7 or 8 weeks, depending on whether it's one-on-one or group. And there's actually tools. There's a book, there's homework, and there's tools. So it's actually now been proven evidence-based. So it's been scientifically basically proven that it really does work well. So that's the grief recovery method. So I did that in 2015 and got the nonprofit, and then started set up the resource center and started these Faces of Resilience photos, and it's emotion evoking. It's hard to explain it until you see it in action, until you actually see it being done and experience it yourself. I've had like the Alan Peterson, who is a nationally known figure in grief recovery. It was the executive director of the Compassionate Friends USA, which is the largest grief organization in the world. And he was their executive director for 4 years, and he's a friend of mine. And he said, I didn't get it, and I was, trying to go do their national conference. And finally, like with a week's notice, he said, "All right, come on, go do it. Let's do it." And we had such a large turnout. Yeah, we had such a large, because it was 1,600 people. We took, I know the second or third time we did it, we took 854 photos in 2 days.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, and just, I get some help, and we've got, somebody helping people with the media release sheets, and somebody, photographer, and somebody, helping to write on skin, and and all that. But it's quite interesting. And then we do smaller events like the Vigil, or like some of the regional events that I've done that are 100 people or less. It's a big range.
Mine was quite less.
But it's yeah. But it's people. I love it. People come up and hug me and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you do this," and when are you doing it again? Or I've had some people that have taken 5 or 6 for different events, 5 or 6 different photos, and they're actually making a collage out of them or whatever.
I've actually been twice. So
Yeah, you
we'll
have.
to
You got
take
two.
that.
Yeah. I've got them all. Somebody called me today because they got the proofs that I sent out with the watermark, and then they didn't get the final one. And I had run across. I said, the name that was on the media release sheet, which I actually renamed the photos, was different than the name she made the request for. So I had no way to connect the dots. So I explained that, and we figured it out. And I got it. I said, "Oh yeah, I got it. I've got all the files." So I got it to her today.
No puzzle she can't handle. That's really, really good. So what do you think you're going to do in the future, Judy? How long have you been doing this as well?
Well, with the life issues, 9 years, and then we are our nonprofit we started it in 2013. So
So you both have been
Yeah,
doing
it a while,
things
yeah.
around.
yeah, so I'm just gonna keep on. If someone can learn from my story, because actually when I did lose my husband, we owned a 2-family house, and I had 2 mortgages on the house, and after losing my full-time job, no income really coming in. So I became homeless. And people perceive homelessness as different ways. Must have been, a drug addict, or must have been an alcoholic, or, something like that. But it can happen to anybody.
Right.
Anybody. I mean, you never know. Somebody walking down the street. So I went through that for 9 months, and so if anyone can just learn from my, story,
Good for you.
yeah, I know that I'm doing something, right, and any little,
Goodness, 9 months you were homeless?
yeah, I lived in a shelter, and just, it was an interesting experience.
Definitely.
So,
I'm sure.
Now, how long were you married?
we were together all for 19 years, and married for 13 years, I think, something like that. So, yeah, so a little while and stuff. So,
I'm really sorry for your loss. Not only that, to be homeless for 9 months, it
Yeah,
must have been a lot of
very
trauma.
traumatic. Yeah.
yeah, it was, but I had to go through it. It was another,
And
step
I'm
in.
glad you're here to talk about it.
Thank you, Joanne. So am I. But I got through it, and I
Look at all the
got
good you're doing now. Yeah.
into an apartment, and my life is flourishing. I have a special
definitely.
somebody in my life, and because I never thought I wanted that when I lost my husband. I just got so involved in volunteering and everything, and I said, you know what, I don't want to be by myself for the rest of my life. And when I turned 60, I said, you know what, and I lost a very dear friend shortly after that. So I said, life is too short. So
That's right.
we found each other, and so we're forever and ever.
Oh,
That's a
good.
great thing.
And he always says ever and forever, always and forever.
Well, I figure someday that might happen to me too. And the thing is that, you never say never.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's for sure.
I figure just at one point in the time, I'm going to meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
and, I'm not looking.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Maybe through your show, maybe somebody will see you.
Yeah.
But,
Open.
I did, yeah, I did. After my first marriage fell apart, that was ended in divorce. But I went on Match and actually found my second husband, and we were married for about 12 years. But then he did die. He died suddenly a couple of years ago. So I get people asking me to speak now because I'm both a bereaved mother and a widow. So that's kind of like the silly prize, right? But I also have somebody else in my life now, just recently. So you just never know.
No, you
No.
don't. You really don't.
no.
I was looking though. It's a sport.
Just
You have
remember,
to-
life is too short.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
Yeah.
go.
No, you have to enjoy life.
Yeah.
I tell everybody
Enjoy
that
how to filter.
all the time. Enjoy life.
And
Doesn't
actually,
matter.
I'm very grateful. Dave, my special person in my life, is on my board too, so he, very.
I know, I met him.
I know.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so,
and I like seeing your posts, and
yeah.
it's nice to see that you're in love, and you're enjoying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, after
Yeah.
everything that you've
Yeah.
gone through,
Yeah.
losing a husband, and I just can't, the homelessness. I meet a lot of
That's
people.
tough. That's really tough.
I used to do. Do you ever hear of Hand Delivered Hope? Okay.
I think so.
Well, we would go down to Boston once a month. They still do it on Sunday, the last Sunday of the month, and we bring hope bags. And in the bags is we have sandwiches, water,
Oh, nice.
an envelope, a pen, a piece of paper, so that they can write to their loved ones. And
Oh,
there's
nice.
also a stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
Clothing, shoes, blankets.
Oh, nice.
There would be a whole bunch of us that would meet down at Kinsale's in Government Center. And we would walk. We would go into 4 different directions. There would be 20, 25 of us.
Mm.
And I would walk from Government Center down to, I don't like to call it, but a lot of people know it as Methadone Mile, down at the Boston Medical Center. The year that I did it for a couple of years, was a year that we had like tons of snow.
I remember that.
And we
That was
would be
crazy.
walking over these mounds of snow. And here I am. I'm an old lady.
No, you're not.
I
Guys,
am.
come on.
Consider. I would be like with Matt Gannum. Matt Gannum,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would be with Mike Duggan and Jessica Klingon and Donald Cronin. I mean, they're a lot younger than I
Right.
am.
Yeah.
I thought a few times they were going to have to carry me though on their backs, because it was a long walk from.
Oh, that was
from
crazy that year.
Government
There was no
Center to
place to
walk
even put
down
the
there.
snow. Yeah. My husband was 6'9", and the snow was over his head. It was crazy.
Yeah, they said that
Yeah.
there was so much snow, and the poor people are out there.
Oh,
And,
God.
and
yeah.
we'd be there like before a snowstorm and say, "Come on, you got to find shelter tomorrow."
They're
Yeah.
chronic
You know.
homelessness, and they don't want to that help. They don't want to go into a shelter and stuff.
Some of
so-
them don't. Like I met a couple, and I'm looking at them. It was very, very hard to look at them because they both had like frostbite. One of them had frostbite in their face, and I'm like, oh my God. And they said that, well, they won't let us stay together in the same shelter.
Oh.
And the girlfriend was pregnant, and so they stayed outside,
Wow.
But we would go there when
Yeah, it's
the
much
shelters
tougher
were
in this
closed and
area
the people.
in warmer climates.
Yeah. So those people that couldn't get into the shelters, we would start like at 9 o'clock and get done at 11:30 at night. So we would, give them hats and gloves and whatever they needed, And one time we were down there, and there's a gentleman that was outside, and he wasn't ready to go in. He was finishing his last drink, and his girlfriend drove him down from New Hampshire. And we're ready to get in the car and leave, and then all of a sudden someone says, "We have someone over here." So Matt and I went over there, and we sat with the man and talked to him. And actually, we got him into the hospital, and for him to sign in, and then we went home. But it was such a good feeling to go out there and help people on a
sure.
monthly basis. They would actually wait for us, knowing that
Oh, nice.
we would be there.
Yeah.
And Linnell, who was the person that started this program, her son was living in the Boston Commons, and he had met his mother one day and said, talked about all these people that were there and how they needed things, and so she started the program. She just recently lost her son. As a matter of fact, I think he may have, I'm not quite sure the whole story, but from what I gather, he was in a cell in the police department in Boston and died there.
Oh.
Like no one checked in on him, and I think he overdosed while under the care and custody of the Boston Police Department. this.
No, it's just, okay. It's stuck on something. We'll fix it. No? There we go.
Can't take you anywhere, Bob.
No, I know. I'm always breaking things, full of bruises.
And she's got all her butterflies on.
Yeah, look, see.
Butterfly
I
earrings,
found this
butterfly
is funny.
necklace.
Yep, butterfly earrings, butterfly ring. I know. People are always giving me butterfly stuff too. It's funny. Some of it's really nice, and some
Actually,
of
it's on my Christmas tree. I had a whole bunch of butterflies
yeah?
that I got one year. I think I got about 10 or 12 different colors. They're about this size.
I should do that. I always get this huge Christmas tree, real, and it's about 13 feet tall. And so I never could. My husband said, "Can't you just get a 6-foot tree?" And I said, "No, I happen to have an area in the back of my house where I can have a big tree, so I want a big tree."
I saw you underneath the tree watering it.
Yeah, wasn't that funny? Yeah, I have to get on my belly and crawl onto the tree and water it. But and then I have to get up on a 6 or 8 foot ladder, of course, to decorate it. To get a couple of friends. But I've got this great Colby Farm actually delivers the tree and helps me get it in the base.
Wow.
So then I'm good. Then I can get a couple of girlfriends to help me to decorate it.
No,
I love it, but I should do it all in butterflies. That didn't even occur to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bought them at Walmart one year, and I go back every year to see if they still have them, and they don't.
Oh, look at
I
the.
go
Is there a
online,
brand on them? Yeah.
Amazon,
Did you? Yeah. No.
Amazon, and haven't been able to find them. They
Oh,
had like a
too bad.
clip, and you just clip them
Yeah.
on.
It's funny. We do
Dollar
a
Tree.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those for a memory tree. So we have an annual candle lighting, which is actually part of Compassionate Friends, and it's part of a global candle lighting. Everybody lights a candle. All the chapters, there's like 700 chapters in the U.S., and it's in 30 countries, and they light a candle between 7 and 8 o'clock on the second Sunday in December. And so I host a candle lighting at my house, and as part of that, what we do is, so there's readings and music, but I have a memory tree that's just like a 3-foot, that fake tree, and I put butterflies on that because it's not intended to be religious or denominational in any way. It's so I put a few butterflies on that, symbol of transition.
Well, mine was 4 feet.
You
And it
beat
looked
me
nice
then.
with all those
Yeah.
little. I
Yeah.
had no choice. I have a new animal in my house.
Oh yeah, little guy. Is that what
Little guy, yeah.
Little guy,
Little
that's
guy is a Yorkshire Terrier. And
Aw.
he's like 7 months now, and
Aw.
he's going to be
Destroying
the death
things?
of me.
Oh, yeah.
I had many, many German Shepherds. They would do exactly what I told him. He is very rebellious.
That's funny.
He thinks he's as
That's
big as a
racist
German Shepherd.
Shepherds. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very upset with me when I was leaving.
Of course.
I know.
He's been on the show.
Yeah, he was on the show when the last time I was on.
Oh.
He sat in your lap most of the time. Yeah.
Well, who wouldn't do that now? So that's why he doesn't come with me.
But I know I had pets and lost them after long term, and it's very sad to lose a family member.
Oh yeah.
And then I said, you know what? No more. At least not for now. I move around too much. I want my freedom. But my stepson keeps threatening to get me a puppy. I said, yeah, that puppy's going to be on your doorstep when you get me that puppy. But they're adorable. I love them, but I don't want one right now.
No, it's
Yeah,
tough.
we'll see.
So you live near the water.
I do. I'm lucky enough. I
You're
grew up.
right
I grew,
on the water?
yeah, I grew up on. Yeah, so you have to come visit. Come have
Yes.
a glass of
Oh,
wine on my
yeah,
deck.
I know.
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Oh, no, we will have to come up.
And
Yeah.
the pictures that she posts of sunrises and
Yeah,
Oh,
I am
I
a
was looking
sunrise
at them.
freak, yeah.
The thing is that I love,
It's right on
that's
my
why I
deck.
lived on the beach
Mm-hmm.
for that
I
one
love it.
year.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was just telling Judith, I was on the 6th floor, and when you came into the apartment, it was like a zigzag, and when you turned that corner, all you could see was the water.
Yeah,
It was like little diamonds
Mhm.
across the,
yeah.
and it was just really, really beautiful.
Fortunate. I grew up on Plum Island, so it's a little barrier island. About 45 minutes north of here. And I left. You don't realize it as you're growing up. And I went to New Jersey for college and met my first husband and was down there for about 16 years. But I really wanted to bring. So when we had the 2 boys when they were little, I wanted to bring them back to be able to grow up near the water. And so, but he didn't like sand, so he wouldn't buy on Plum Island. So we built a Newburyport, and then 10 years later, when everything kind of had changed over and the kids were up, we finally looked. It took us 3 years to find a place on the water. So I've been there for 22 years now. Yeah, I think 97. So I love it. I would never move. Yeah.
No,
I just
I
love
wouldn't
it.
either.
Yeah, I love it.
It looks like
you're
a
welcome to come up and
beautiful,
visit.
beautiful home.
I love it. It's just, you know, it's
I would
it's
move
not
from
about
Somerville.
and it's not about, yeah, I was going to say, it's not about the place. It's just a great location, right? So it's a lot smaller than my last place, but that we were trying to downsize and make it simplified. My second husband said he married me because it was illegal to cut the grass, because it's field grass. It's environmentally protected. So, so there's no lawn, there's no garden. There's a deck over the driveway, which basically protects it from most of the snow. Yeah, it's not bad. and the whole back is windows, so you got the view of the
I
water.
noticed that. And that's where you have your tree.
Yeah, the tree is in the corner by the northeast corner by the
Yeah, it
by the
looks
windows.
beautiful.
So
I'm
thank
going to
you.
have to go up there. We're going to
Yes, you're
have
invited.
to pick you up, and we'll have to come up
Yes.
and spend the day with you.
We took a walk
Yeah,
on
it'd
the
be
Your
fun.
beach.
busy schedule, though.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I'll make time for you.
That'd be great. So
It is.
we
especially
only
nice.
have like 10 minutes left of the show.
Okay.
Would you like to talk about the grief cruise?
Oh yeah, sure. So this is it's called the Grief Cruises, and it's hosted by Linda Findley, and it's I believe now it's also tied into the International Grief Institute with Linda Findley and Linda Fell, and it's thegriefcruises.com, but it's a regular Royal Caribbean ship. It's a mega ship, actually. It's beautiful. I went on one last year, and they do the people that joined. So the grief part of it is, you know, just a number of people. Maybe it's 50 or 100 people, whatever it is. And we have a conference room where we do workshops just on the days at sea. So you still get to enjoy the whole vacation and the whole cruise and all the ports that they stop at. And this one's going, I know it's going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas, and there's one other place. I'm sorry, I can't think of it right now. But it's really lovely. So you get to, you get all the benefits of a beautiful cruise, but you get to be around, spend some time with like-minded people, and it's any kind of grief. There's a lot of widows that are coming on it, but widowers, bereaved parents, people that have lost siblings, any kind of grief. And we just do, there's different workshops. So I happen to be doing a workshop on resilience, the key to surviving loss. And then I'm actually going to do a discussion group with widows, and I'm going to do a photo shoot. But there's...
So I guess you're going on this one.
Yeah, so I'm going on
So
this
I guess
one.
I'm going.
Yeah, good.
I
That'd be
don't want to
great.
go by myself,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so now that
Maybe
I know.
why don't you both go? You're right.
Why don't you come, Judy?
Not a
No.
cruise person?
Yeah,
Oh.
not really.
And the
Yeah.
interesting thing was I used to think in mega ships, those are the great big massive ones, that would be, too many people. It wasn't. I've been on 19 cruises, only 3 of them. This will be my 4th grief cruise. But there was so much more to do. The service was better, the food was better, everything. They have their act together with these big cruises, and there's multiple shows and a lot of fun things to do.
So I'm going.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm
You should.
retired.
Awesome.
You should.
Sure. Promise. Yep.
Yeah.
February 12th, my last day at work.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is April 19th to the 26th, and it leaves out of Cape Canaveral, Florida. And so it'll be fun.
26th. That might be a problem.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. April, 19th to 26th. So.
No, the thing is that I'm the Somerville Lions president,
Mhm.
and we have our buffet that day, breakfast buffet.
Oh, too bad it's
Maybe
early in the morning, because you'd get in. You could get off the ship really early, but you'd have to get back up here from Florida if it's here. So you can get somebody to
I
cover
guess the
for you.
brunch won't be there. Well, I'll have to talk to them about it.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, but it's also healing. So it's and you get to have some really good conversations with people. They do some arts and crafts type things as well, but there's some really interesting speakers.
Well, that's another thing too. When you're, we try to help people, but then there are people that exercise. Right, my son likes to go to the gym.
Right.
That helps him
Right.
with his anxieties.
Mm-hmm.
Some people yoga, some people
Mhm.
paint.
Mm-hmm.
whatever it takes for
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
to find peace with
Right.
yourself
Yeah,
and to be able to enjoy life,
yeah, absolutely.
even with your losses. We all have to find what that would
Yes,
be.
yeah, it is. It's unique. As I said, you should try, and actually try things like I didn't really, before my older son died, I was working for IBM. Before that in software and in the corporate world. I was doing a lot of international, really high pressure job. And
Okay.
it's, and basically, I was not at all into like spiritual side and all that until he died, and then I was on a mission to figure out whether his spirit continued, and did a lot of study around that kind of thing. And what I figured out is, I tried energy healing, and it was amazing how much it helped me. But I never would have even thought to try energy healing before that.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh,
have you?
really? Oh, yeah. So and shamanic massage and Reiki and polarity and
Oh, okay.
reflexology, that's all
Reiki?
those of acupuncture, those are all forms of energy healing. It's like your bioelectric system rather than because the medical industry treats your biochemical system. Energy healing treats your bioelectric system. It's just your chi and how it moves. And you get blocks, and it can cause you problems. So, yeah, I was amazed. I've got a friend who's a shaman in Newburyport, Mark Clopton, and he does amazing energy healing work. And
I
Tom,
guess I have to go back up there.
there you go, yeah. And then
More than once.
Tom Tam has had amazing results with people with cancer and all kinds of things with energy healing, with Tong Ren. So anyway, so if you keep an open mind and try a few new things, you may be surprised yourself and find some things that really help. You know, I don't think there's any one cure. You've got to try a few things and just keep working
We're all
on
individuals, right?
it. Right, and just keep hacking away at it. Yeah.
Is there anything that you'd like to share with the public?
You're not alone. There's always somebody or something that can help with whatever, resources or other, counseling or whatever there is. So, just like I said,
Don't give up.
yeah, don't give up. And I also have another motto. There's a reason for everything. You might not know at that moment what that reason is, but down the road you might say, "Oh yeah, I know now why I had to go through this process or that, and stuff." So, yeah. So, and I gave out my phone number and the email. So feel free to have anybody call and come to our fundraiser April 29th at Giggles. Call me for tickets.
Well, I'll be around April 29th.
Okay.
I'll be just back
I
from
know.
that cruise, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you two should come.
Yeah, we'll come.
Fun, yeah.
The girls' night out.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
would you like to say something?
Yeah, I guess so. It's info@butterfliesjourney.org is how you'd reach me by email, and the phone number is 617-410-6309. And I think it's really important that you trust your gut, that you don't. A lot of people have advice, and it's probably not going to fit your style or situation or your relationship with your lost loved one. So you should really trust your gut. Helping others helps you heal, and it's all about the love. If you can focus on the positive and memories and the love, it all helps you.
It
all
does.
helps you heal.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. So, wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it was just like
We're still on YouTube, but
Yeah, okay. So they
yeah.
just talk for a couple of minutes while they're doing wrapping credits or rolling credits
Yeah.
or whatever?
no. Oh,
No?
I'll just go out
that's how
there.
it is.
Yeah, that's
that
how
we
it
do-
is when
yeah.
you do it, yeah.
I'll just have him stop it.
Okay.
I just go and get him and say, "Come on, do it."
Oh, okay, good. I forgot to mention this thing. Oh,
Oh
well.
my God!
Oh
yeah.
yes, your beautiful
Oh my God,
award.
we had an hour.
Yeah. No, that went by fast.
Yeah. What, you're not editing it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, you think you're still on. I see, that's it. Yeah, that's all right. Well, this is my award from the, this is my award from the International Association of Top Professionals, the 2019 Top Professional